So today I want to talk about this pot of Philodendron hederaceum or Philodendron Micans, what is more known for. Now I'm having a dilemma with this pot of plant because it's become very unruly. Normally I like unruly plants, but I think this one has really outgrown its unruliness, because if you can see in here, there's just too many stems weaving all over the place. It's just too many branches here and there, and the plant is really not doing very well because it's getting gnarly and old. So looks like I'm going to move towards having to restart this plant from the beginning and throw away some of the old growth. Now the good thing about this plant is it's very easy to propagate. I have a very nice branch here which is thick and nice. This particular one is very thick and nice, and as you can see from these nodes, aerial roots have already grown. So if I were to plant this one is really long. If I were to replant this, I don't think it would have problems taking. Okay. Now, unlike the jewel orchid, this philodendron will be easier to take if you take new shoots, like if you take shoots, the new growth. Whereas if you have seen my other video on jewel orchids, those are better if you regrow them with old stems. But for philodendrons like this, trailing philodendrons, the new stems are easier to propagate. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try and cut out some of the newer stems, and I'm going to repropagate this and start all over again. So my other dilemma is, should I maintain this as a trailing plant, or should I put a moss pole in the center and let it climb a bit? Because as you can see, if you let the Philodendron Micans climb, it looks gorgeous and the leaves will be relatively larger. But I already have one climbing plant here, so what am I going to do with this one? Should I maintain this as a trailing plant, or should I change this into a climbing plant? Give it a little bit of a moss pole and let it climb. Okay, let's begin cutting off some of the nicer end shoots of this plant. So this one looks good. I have 2 nodes here. Normally I would give it 2 nodes before I cut, and this one has quite a nice root system. I'm going to cut just below the node. So I have one here, one cutting, and this big one which I showed you just now. Now I have one node here and another here, so I'm going to cut just below this one because this one has a very nice root. And then because this cutting is so big and nice, just trim this off. You don't want that. I'm going to make another cutting out of this. So one just below here. It's a long root. This is an aerial root. I'm going to continue finding and cutting and getting new cuttings and see how many I can find. Now that I've done taking all the nice new parts, it doesn't seem like a lot here, but if I put it in one pot, when it grows and it takes, it's going to be a very full pot. They are viable and very fresh, so these will be good. So I'm going to put that one side. What I'm going to do with this pot is I'm going to really cut it down to its minimum. seems like a waste, but I'm thinking if I cut this down to its bare minimum, hopefully it will regrow from the base again. We'll see how it does. Even if it doesn't, I have all those new shoots there which I can regrow. So this is going to be drastic. But these are all going to have to go. Okay. So I have a whole bunch of this here. It's just what's left here. So I'm going to leave it like this, or maybe change the pot, cut off some of the roots, and check and see if there are any ants in there. I've kept all these new cuttings in a plastic bag, and I've sprayed some water in it to keep it moist and keep it growing, because I don't know when I will have time to plant this into a new pot. By doing this, it's going to keep the cuttings alive and viable. Okay, doesn't look too bad. No ants. I'm going to shake out some of the soil that was used to plant this from the nursery. Now this aroid grows pretty easily here, so there was no particular special soil that was used to grow this. I just kept it in what the nursery gave me. Looks good. Some of the roots are still looking very nice and white. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to snip this part off, and I'm going to replant this into a smaller pot so that it doesn't get waterlogged. What I have here is my normal potting mix, which is the 6-in-1 soil, and I've added some amount of perlite in this for drainage, and I'm just going to use this simple concoction to replant this clump of Philodendron Micans. So like I said earlier, this Philodendron Micans is quite an easy plant to grow here, so there is no need for any special mix. It will grow in just well-drained soil. I'm just going to add some soil. Okay. This should be good enough, and I'm going to water it in, and then I'm just going to leave it to do its thing. Okay, so this is what I've prepared here to plant my micans. Now I've decided to let this pot climb. So I've prepared a pot, and I've prepared my version of a moss pole, which just comprises of 2 pieces of bare wood, which were leftovers from my DIY projects. So this is maybe 1 cm by 3 cm. And what's inside the pot is something like this. So what I have inside here are cocoa chunks, charcoal, some lacquer balls, and some 6-in-1 soil and perlite. So this will give the Micans everything. It will give it drainage and moisture retention inside the soil. So the Micans here is quite easy to grow. You can actually put it in any substrate and it will grow. Okay, so I'm going to fill this pot up with the rest of the substrate. Here I have twine. I have no idea what I'm going to do with this, but I'm just going to maybe twine this. Twine this round for a bit just to give it a hold. This will also add some grip for the Micans to climb up. All right, so something simple like that. And this is the bag. Still looking really good. And I actually see, even in that bag for one day, I see some new root growth because that bag was slightly moist. And here as well. Look how fast these guys grow. It was just one day. I bagged that yesterday. And there's one here. Look at this really long area root. These roots have, oh, it's wet so you can't really see it, but it has little hair, little like fur-like quality, probably to catch moisture or nutrients from the air or from the bark of the tree that they're growing from. So I'm just going to lightly place these on the soil. I see how many I can put in here. I hope to put all of these, so at least if some don't take, I still have quite a bit of them in here. Now this one is just going to lay this flat. Now if I've cut something like this, I think it's like this, but I'm not sure. It probably is like this because the plant was trailing. So if you cannot decide which side it's up, just place it down like that. Very, very full already. There is no more place for me to plonk these in. If I had a bigger space, I would separate these cuttings up into different pots, but because I cannot afford that space, I can only afford one pot of Micans, so you'll just have to be all stuffed in this one. Okay, I think that's good. I will see how this grows and update you guys on this little baby. Hopefully in a few months it would have crawled up this pole of mine and looking good. So I'm going to water this in now, and then I'm just going to leave it in a part shaded area for it to establish the roots, because that's what they need. The roots need some shade, because shade will encourage rooting and light will encourage leafing. So now we don't want this thing to leaf too much, to waste energy on leafing. We want it to put its energy on rooting. So we're going to put it in the shade for 2 weeks or 3 weeks maybe, until it has established itself, and then we can bring it out into a brighter place. Okay, that's it for this week. Thank you so much for watching. And thank you so much for all your questions and your subscription and your likes. I really appreciate it.